Trump top nominees Pompeo and Mattis warn of Russia threat. President-elect Donald Trump's nominees for defense secretary and spy chief have been talking tough on Russia at their Senate confirmation hearings. General James Mattis, defense secretary nominee, warned NATO was under its biggest attack since World War II. Mike Pompeo, Mr. Trump's pick to lead the CIA, said Moscow posed a threat in Europe and was asserting itself aggressively in Ukraine. The pair were among several cabinet choices facing confirmation hearings. Mr. Mattis, a retired general and Mr. Trump's pick for Pentagon chief, said Russian President Vladimir Putin was trying to divide NATO nations. "I think right now the most important thing is that we recognize the reality of what we deal with Mr. Putin, and we recognize that he is trying to break the North Atlantic Alliance and that we take the steps, the integrated steps, diplomatic, economic, military and the alliance steps, working with our allies to defend ourselves where we must," he told the Armed Services Committee. "I think it's under the biggest attack since World War II, sir, and that's from Russia, from terrorist groups and with what China is doing in the South China Sea." If confirmed, Mr. Mattis, nicknamed Mad Dog for his combative style, would be the first career military officer to serve as Secretary of Defense in more than 50 years. But the committee will have to approve an exception to a rule which says former military staff must spend a minimum of 7 years out of office before they can run the Pentagon. Mr. Pompeo, Mr. Trump's choice for CIA director, faced questions over the president-elect's growing rift with the U.S. intelligence community. He told the Intelligence Committee he had every confidence in the U.S. intelligence services. Their assessment that state-directed Russia hackers meddled in the U.S. election was sound, he added. The conservative Kansas Republican was quick to criticize Russia on Wednesday, criticizing country for invading and occupying Ukraine, threatening Europe and doing nearly nothing to destroy the so-called Islamic State. Rex Tillerson, Mr. Trump's choice for Secretary of State, will also undergo a second day of grilling before the Foreign Relations Committee. The former chief executive of ExxonMobil faced sharp questioning on Wednesday from Republican Senator Marco Rubio. Ben Carson, Mr. Trump's nominee for Housing Secretary, is also being questioned by senators. He is a retired neurosurgeon with no direct experience of housing policy or of public office in general. Mr. Carson appeared in November to rule himself out of a cabinet position, when his spokesman said he would not seek one because he has no government experience and he's never run a federal agency. This, despite Mr. Carson having run for president only months earlier. Mr. Carson was raised in a low-income Detroit neighborhood by a mother who worked several jobs and relied on welfare to support her sons, but he has heavily criticized welfare programs saying that they breed dependency.